Well, welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what you doing?
Oh, just staying warm, hanging out with you in the good old new studio space. Middle to end of January. So things are definitely approaching record highs, heat waves. We're freezing. So we're doing good.
But the good thing is we're on the other end. It's only going to get longer. The days are only going to get longer from here. We're all golden. But before we dive into the episode, thank you very much for joining us. If you're new here, thank you so much. We are the Buffalo Happy Hour podcast. We upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube right here. You can also leave a like and then leave a comment below. Let us know if you like this video, if you didn't like this video, or what else you can add to this section. We have today our weekly recap. Then we're going to jump into Suntory whiskey. Suntory Toki whiskey. And then we're going to round this episode out with John R. OISHEI. So, Michael, why are you so cold?
Because we live in Buffalo. And we're in our secondary studio space, which is our garage. And it's great. You know, we're crushing it.
At least it looks good on camera, though. For the most part.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
We're working on some things. Don't worry. Some stuff's in the works.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. How's your week? What's your weekly recap look like?
We came over to your house for the Bills game. You had a little get together, under 10 people. Let's not. When can we stop saying that?
Now. I stopped saying that forever ago.
But it's still illegal.
Whatever.
So when can we stop? No. But when can we stop saying it? When is it just assumed that we're following protocols?
Last I checked, I lived in a free country, so...
Maybe when Cuomo goes to the Bills game, we can all hang out. Oh, wait. But yeah, so we went over to your house for the Bills game. It was the AFC divisional game with the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens, which we all know how excited I am that we beat them. That's all I wanted, man. I just wanted to beat them. We got past the first round. We played Baltimore, which I do not like. I actually gained a little bit of respect for them, though, this past week. I think that they put on a really good game. They also, like Lamar Jackson was being like a nice dude. I mean, even during press conferences, he was like, Buffalo's a good team. I mean, I can't say anything bad about them. And then he got hurt, and then we all donated to his charity. It just made me gain some respect for him.
Yeah. I'm still bitter and salty.
Why?
I just think he's misapplied.
Yeah.
But
that's not his fault.
I know.
That's Greg Roman's fault.
True.
Who used to be the offensive coordinator in Buffalo when under who? Tyrod Taylor was their quarterback at that point? Or was it?
No, I think you're right.
Which he was not a very good offensive coordinator in that situation either. You got to let quarterbacks throw.
Well, yeah. And, you also have to groom them to be able to throw, which he failed to do so. And they were a one-dimensional offense. Our defense came up big and proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I told you. I told you as soon as that game ended that somebody would still say we didn't deserve to win, and that Nick Wright dude still said it.
He's an idiot.
He's like, well, they weren't a very good team, and it's going to show next week versus Kansas City. I'm like, just shut up, dude.
Yep.
God.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson is still the second coming of Jesus. But anyway, yeah, that's really what we did. I got a new computer for editing, which is very exciting. My laptop is kind of on the fritz. It's like, dude, you are doing way too much video editing for this type of a computer. So you need something else. So I've been trying to route Ethernet cables all day today.
Well,
it's not fun.
No, it's a bear because you have no clue where you are.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And like, I have a cape, so the upstairs doesn't fit directly on top of the downstairs, which is very hard because I'm drilling up through closets and it's poking up in the middle of the floor. Like, what the hell's this? But I had to go get a drill bit that was like 12 inches long. I'm like, Jesus, this is a weapon at this point.
Yeah, man. But at least it gave you an excuse to get more tools.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So I ran to Harbor Freight right over by you.
Oh.
Picked up a nice little 12-inch drill bit and just went to town. I started drilling holes in walls that I didn't need to. Taking down walls with this 12-inch drill bit.
Well, when you got the Wuhan drill bit, that's what you need. Good for you.
But yeah, Ethernet cables are not very fun.
No.
What did you do? How was your week?
Week was good. Colleen's cousin came in from out of town. He lives up in Maine. They have 1 million people in Maine, and they're at like a 0.03% infection rate. So he was,
good.
of course, negative. Came down, hung out, Stayed at the Kelly Bed and Breakfast. Enjoyed watching the game with us. He's a Patriots fan, but he understands the love for Buffalo. He actually roots for Buffalo in regards to the season, so he's excited for that. Let's see. I cried. You witnessed that over the victory. Couldn't contain myself. Brian Dable does not get hired by the Chargers, which is huge, so it's most likely he's going to be staying here. Leslie Frazier's a top candidate for the Houston Texans, so we'll see what happens there. Outside of that, I had the whiskey shakes on Sunday because I drank too much on Saturday. So I woke up, started cleaning, realized I should stop cleaning all the glassware because I was shaking like Michael J. Fox. So then
Jesus Christ.
We decided to take a walk outside in the woods. So that was nice. Got Colleen some new hiking boots. And
What kind?
Just some waterproof Keens. Nothing too crazy, but for her it's incredible. So they're mid-cut, just over the ankle bone, so she's got some good support. So we hung out, went down to 18 Mile Creek with her cousin and Sam, our dog, if you're new here. And Sam got super muddy, just loved it, playing in the woods, came home, gave him a bath, and then we watched the rest of the football games and had sushi.
Are there actual hiking trails at 18 Mile, or do you just do whatever you want?
No, there are, but...
You just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So yes and yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
With the family, I stuck to the trail, but when it's just Sam and I, no.
We just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
I can do what I want.
That's right.
Friend.
That's right. Last I checked, it was public land. So, yeah, we basically just hang out and him and I go play in the woods.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. What do you think about the other games?
The first one wasn't bad. I was honestly bored watching the Saints and the Buccaneers game. It was one of the longest games of the playoffs. It was like 4.5 hours long. There were flags almost every other play, and it was excruciating to watch. The Buccaneers' offensive line is super annoying because they just pick fights constantly, and it's like a waste of time. Just get back to the line of scrimmage and keep playing football. And, you know, with Drew Brees, quote-unquote, leaving, I respect him, but it doesn't change my life. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But if there was a team that I wanted, if the Bills made it to the Super Bowl, or when the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, I would have rather played the Saints, because I like the fact that I like Drew Brees.
100%.
If we lost to the Saints, it would be less of a heartbreak for me, because I want him to get a title. If we get to the friggin' Super Bowl and it's us versus Brady and he beats us, I swear to God.
Dude, there is 0% chance Green Bay is not going to the Super Bowl. They were going to beat either team.
I know.
Like, they're just a better all-around unit, so I wasn't worried. Like, I knew we weren't going to play Brady because he's going to get literally stomped by Aaron Rodgers.
But you never know, though, dude.
They have a better team.
Any given Sunday, though.
They have a better team.
But any given... It's your phrase, is any given Sunday.
For the AFC.
Well...
But the NFC is a totally different... Like, it's just different. It's literally like watching two different NFLs. Mm-hmm. Like, the NFC doesn't even come close to the AFC this year. And the only team that stands a chance against the AFC is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Like, they're just a better unit, and they play well on all three sides of the ball. The Saints played like absolute garbage. They couldn't get anything going, and the Buccaneers really couldn't get anything going until they got 3 interceptions.
Right.
Like, it's just the Saints gave them that game, in my opinion, but I'm just not afraid of the Saints or the Buccaneers.
What about the Packers? Are you afraid of them?
I respect them a lot, but I'm not even thinking about it. I'm only thinking about Kansas City and how Mahomes is going to shake out.
And how we're going to play Chad Henne?
I'm fairly confident Mahomes is going to be playing, but I question his foot injury.
That's what I'm more concerned about. People are talking about the concussion a lot. I'm more concerned about that foot. He looked not very mobile at all.
No, which is huge.
Game. The only time that he looked mobile was when he was sprinting into the locker room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which makes me think, like, I don't like to go down this road, but it makes me think that it wasn't that big of a head injury, and it was just like, let's just take him out so he's not re-aggravating this toe injury. But the game was so close, too, that I can't, I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out.
I don't know if it was a concussion. I think it was more like spinal or nerve.
Yeah, or he was knocked out. Like, the way that he was tackled was right around his neck, so he could have just lost consciousness.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was like a quick blood choke, like or what, but he was super dizzy and just not coherent. But watching it, you wouldn't think, oh, that definitely gave him a concussion. Like with Lamar, the back of his head smacks the turf. Like, that makes sense. But for Mahomes, I feel like his head was basically being ripped off away from his body in that tackle, and it was just super awkward. So I don't think it's a concussion. I think it's more spinal or nerve. But either way, we'll see what happens. Obviously, things are going to change on Friday, so what's the point? But
I just wish we could have the championship game here. That would have been nice.
Me too. That would have been cool.
That would have been real nice.
Would have been loud.
But whatever.
I know.
What are you going to do? What do you have coming up or anything else in your week that you did?
No. It was basically just a lot of prep because I knew the B&B was going to be occupied. Yeah. So, but
did you? Are you possessed still or no?
Definitely not possessed, which is a good thing. But that dream freaked me out. So we'll just keep moving on.
I hate how I can see my breath.
It's not that bad.
I can see my breath.
I can't see mine.
Well then, I can see mine, and it's freaking me out. All right, let's. Do you want to get to the whiskey section already?
I'm assuming that there's a lot of company background, so we probably should.
There is quite a bit, so we'll just dive right in.
Let's do it.
All right, so this whiskey we have today is called Suntory Toki. And what's interesting about this particular product is that there isn't a Suntory distillery. The way that the Japanese work when it comes to distilling their products is they like to take different whiskeys from 3 main distilleries in the Japanese area and then blend it. Kind of like an MGP, but not really, because Suntory's technically under, like, it's a product of these 3 distilleries where MGP sources it out. So we'll get into it a little bit, but basically Suntory itself, the overall company, is broken down into 3 different distilleries. It's the Yamazaki distillery, the Hakushu distillery, and the Chita distillery. So the Yamazaki distillery is Japan's first and oldest malt whiskey distillery, established in 1923 by Suntory's founder Shinjiro Tori. Inspired by traditional Scottish whiskey, Tori envisioned a Japanese approach by choosing a terrain and climate completely different from those of Scotland to create a unique kind of whiskey. The Yamazaki distillery is thus the birthplace of Japanese whiskey. Nestled proudly in the periphery of Kyoto, this region was formerly referred to as Minasino, where one of the purest waters of Japan originates. Yamazaki is also home to the Shen no Rikyu, master of the way of tea. Yamazaki Distillery is where Katsura, Uji, and Kizu rivers converge, providing a unique misty climate in one of Japan's softest waters. The diversity of the region's temperature and humidity creates ideal conditions for cask aging, known as the signature Suntory maturation. So that is the first distillery. And after that, so the Shinjiro Tori, he had obviously master distillers under him. And the Hakushu distillery was founded half a century after Yamazaki. Kaizo Saji inherited his father's vision in his quest for innovation and constructed the second Suntory distillery in 1973. Kaizo Saji, the second master blender, inherited his father's quest to push the boundaries of what a Japanese whiskey could be. He had searched all over Japan for high-quality water that will become the most delicately aromatic to produce whiskey that people would love. After searching with tenacity to the headstreams of rivers and deep into rugged mountains, he found Hakushu. The Hakushu distillery is without question one of the highest distilleries in the world, built amidst the deepest forest of Mount Kakomagataki in the Japanese Southern Alps. You like that? I had to pronounce that like 17 times before I read it, and I still messed up. So the majestic forest that surrounded Hakushu Distillery shelters an abundance of plant varieties reflecting on the many expressions of Japanese nature. The malt whiskeys born here are simultaneously blessed with a very particular microclimate, verdant forests, and water offering a rare softness and purity only made possible by filtration of rain and snow through thousands of year-old granite rocks. So that's the second distillery. The third one is Chita. So Chita in 1972, Kaizo Saji, the second blender again, took a momentous step forward in pursuing Tori's vision for diverse and truly Japanese whiskey blended with the riches of Japanese nature and craftsmanship. of the misty, calm shores of Chita Peninsula, Kaizo built a distillery dedicated to creating the highest quality Japanese grain whiskey. So the first two distilleries were single malts, and this one is a grain, using mainly corn grain and continuous multiple column distillation processes. The Chita distillery makes 3 types of grain whiskey. The heavy type grain whiskey is distilled through 2 columns, the medium type through 3 columns, and the clean type through 4 columns. This diversity is rare among grain whiskey distillers, as most only produce the heavy type. Due to their exceptional smoothness and balance, Chita grain whiskeys have traditionally been used as the dashi, or broth that enhances the harmony in Suntory's renowned blended whiskeys. But through many years of research and innovation, the Chita distillery's grain whiskey has achieved an unrivaled sophistication and complexity, culminating in the Chita single grain whiskey. So you have these 3 distilleries. They all create their own products. We have a Yamazaki product. The biggest one, which is an interesting fact that I found, the first Japanese whiskey in the United States was introduced in 1990, which was the Yamazaki 12-year, and was the only Japanese option for whiskey until Yamazaki 18 came out in 2005. So that's it. That's all you can find in the U.S. So Yamazaki was put into the limelight by winning multiple awards, and with that, there was an emphasis on creating a blended product using Yamazaki whiskey that was more affordable. Suntory started creating Hibiki, which is another common Japanese whiskey brand, which was, again, pretty expensive, even for the Hibiki Harmony expression, around $70. So that's what created this Suntory Toki, which is the basically bottom line entry-level whiskey that this Suntory company creates. So some specifics about Suntory Toki. Toki means time in Japan, or in Japanese. Suntory Toki is a Japanese whiskey created by blending the products from 3 different Japanese distilleries, 2 single malts, and a grain whiskey, which include Yamazaki, Hakushu, and Chita. Suntory Toki separates themselves from the other blended products that are created using the same distilleries by having by having more of an emphasis on the Chita distillery process over the other single malt distilleries. So this is going to be primarily heavy grain compared to like the Hibiki Harmony and the other Japanese products. So some awards that they won. They won in 2010, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2017 International Spirits Challenge. Suntory won Worldwide Whiskey Producer of the Year. Right? Pretty sick. And then in 2013, San Francisco World Spirits Competition, they won the Distillery of the Year. So they didn't win anything specific to the Suntory Toki, but the distillation process and the distillery process in general is what won the Whiskey Producer of the Year. And that's really it. So this is going to be interesting. It is a high grain than you would really typically see in a Japanese whiskey product, but I'm going to be pretty excited to try this.
Well, let's try it. All right. Here we go.
Oh, it's chilled.
It's oily, too. There's some fruit.
This is true. This is, if I had to compare this one, this is similar to more of a Irish whiskey.
I like this one the best so far.
Yeah. Over
Hatazaki.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Hatazaki and the Kikori.
Yeah.
So you like this one the most?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Tasting notes are just a little bit better for me and my palate. It's more drinkable for me. It's a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah. So this is Suntory Toki Japanese whiskey, 86 proof, 43% ABV. So it's not the hottest thing we've ever tasted, but I mean, it's got something. It's not just a typical 80 proof, which I like. But yeah, this is pretty good.
I actually don't mind this. The color still throws me off. It's like a clear gold.
Well, you also have to think they don't really do the typical maturation process. Mm-hmm. So, and when they do, it's a very early whiskey. It's not like 18 years, 12 years. The reason that this is so cheap is because it's sitting in their casks for like, it didn't have an age statement on it, but it's probably like 2 to 3 years. So you're not getting a lot of the oak or barrel reflective into this at all, which is why it's pretty light.
Yeah. Well, we're having it neat because it's what we do. We literally try everything neat.
Mm-hmm.
But we should discuss cocktails because there are some options, and then we'll rate it.
Sounds good.
All right, drop the beat for the cocktail section.
Cocktails.
Okay, so
You like that? That's my
that
cat.
was different. Well then, mine is called the Half Rock. You pour this whiskey into a glass over a large ice cube, singular, not plural. You stir it gently. Then you add the same amount of mineral water that you used for alcohol, so it's equal parts. And then
Mineral water?
Mineral water.
Emphasis on the mineral?
Yep, and then you stir that gently with a bar spoon, and you enjoy. So it's a half rock.
So is the rock, I'm assuming, is signifying the ice.
Yes.
I watched this cool video on their website. All this information for the distillery history is on their website. So that's where I was reading it off of. There was a cool video of this dude making an ice ball, like a sphere, just by using his hands. It was the most wild thing in the world.
I can't handle that. So what's your cocktail?
So mine is called the Highball. So they actually created this whiskey specifically for the Highball cocktail. You fill a glass with ice and let chill. Pour the chilled whiskey in to taste. Stir. Add chilled soda. 3 to 4 parts soda to 1 part whiskey. You do a single stir from the bottom to top, and then garnish with a grapefruit or lemon twist. So it's basically just this over ice with a lemon twist.
Yeah. Nice.
The simplicity of the Japanese culture is so interesting to me.
I am
We
with you
talked
on
about
that.
this last time.
Yeah.
It's so like it's simplistic but technical, which doesn't really make sense. They don't normally go hand in hand, but it's literally just ice, this whiskey, and a lemon twist. But they're so specific on like single stir from bottom to top, fill the glass, and then chill it with ice first. Like it's very intricate but simple at the same time.
I like the way they go about things. Mm-hmm. Oh, I almost made a joke and I didn't. So be proud.
Yeah. No,
So
I'm good.
all right, let's rate this.
So for everybody that has been following us along, we obviously do these weekly Wednesday whiskey reviews. We have our board updated with season 3.1 because we're now finally in season 3.
Bro. Congrats on season 3.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we're in season 3.1 right now.
New
And
color?
All of yeah, partially because red ran out, but also because I wanted to mix things up a little bit.
Yes.
But all of our whiskey reviews that we've ever done are in our Google spreadsheet. So if you go to our Instagram bio or our Facebook bio, you can click on that link to our link tree.
Yes.
And then that'll bring up all the options to subscribe on YouTube, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also a sheet that outlines everything from the Wednesday whiskey reviews. And we're talking in depth Wednesday whiskey reviews. We have the name of the whiskey in there. We have the label, branding, nose, initial taste, ending notes, and also the actual notes itself. It's not just a rating. We say, oh, this has spice, old wood, and all that stuff. Then we round it out with the final rating, and we also include prices in there. We link the Wednesday whiskey review clip in there for you, and then we also put our cocktail section stuff in there for you. It's literally, it should be your Bible at this point. I mean, would you rather read our cocktail section or the Bible?
The cocktail section is my Bible, so I do two things at once.
The rosary. So we are going to get into it, Mike.
All right, man. Label
Let's do it.
branding. I'm gonna go B minus. First of all, there's no cork, so nicked.
And from what I've read, is most Japanese whiskeys do not have corks.
Well,
so
this is why I love American whiskey and bourbon. So it's a screw off cap. I will.
Oh, Jesus. Mary and Joseph. All right.
End
See you
of
later,
the-
folks. Goodbye.
End of
Jesus.
demo. So from there, they actually have like a kind of textured like paper.
Which I like.
I was okay with that, which is why I'm still in the B range.
Have you ever broken your arm
Oh my god.
or broken a bone? and they wrap that like medical tape around it. That's what that feels like.
Gauze?
No, I wouldn't say gauze, but it's like that texture of a cast around that thing. Like, you know how some people have like purple casts? It's like they don't make that. It's really hard for me to say cast now and not casks. But anyway, that's the material that is, which is pretty cool.
It is similar to medical tape and
There you
a soft skin cast. Yes, I'm with you. Well, that's about it on this entire bottle. It's shaped like a flask, and their label's basically just the name, where it's established, and it's proof because of law, and that's about it. They have a vivid blend of carefully selected Japanese whiskeys, silky with a subtle, sweet, and spicy finish, which just describes like any whiskey in the history of the world.
This is the bare minimum that you can get on a whiskey bottle, basically.
I'm literally just gonna go a B.
Oh, you're upgrading because of the medical tape. I like it. B. I agree.
I agree.
All right, nose. I'm kind of crushing this, dude. This is pretty good.
You slow it down over there, Hasselhoff.
Great. We're gonna get demonetized now.
Hasselhoof. That's his cousin no one knows about. There you go.
You're getting a lot of honey on the nose. And kind of like a fresh herb. Like a basil or something.
A fresh basil, as Gordon Ramsay says. Hold on, I'm gonna grab the top so that this doesn't spill and like leak all over.
It's a very inviting nose.
You have an inviting nose.
Thanks,
How's
dude.
that?
I mean, I don't know if it's that inviting, but I'm Italian. It can't be that inviting. It's also, I'm going to throw you in the water. But I think that it's very refreshing. And when you smell this, it makes you think of warmer days. You know how there's some days, or there's some whiskeys that just make you feel like it's perfect for winter.
Where do you come up with this?
It's just how I'm feeling, man.
Did you meditate before we hit record?
I did.
I did.
So this is just very light. And this is something that I associate with a summer drink, which makes me think of warmer days. And I'm also freezing, and I can't feel my left wing toe. So I'm trying to put myself in a situation where I'm warm. And this does that. It's very refreshing. It's very inviting. It makes you want to take a sip. We were drinking the other day. And that whiskey, as soon as I took a sip of that, I'm like, this is winter whiskey, 100%, because it makes you feel warm all the way down.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This nose just feels refreshing. There's like a little floral notes in there too, and maybe a little lemon, but for the most part, just honey and basil.
I agree.
I agree. All right, taste?
Well, hold on. We got to give a rating.
Oh. Why do we say agree then?
I'm just gonna go B.
B plus?
B plus? Mm-hmm.
All right, initial taste. What are you getting?
You get like the blast in your mouth of like a peppermint.
Yeah, it's very front heavy.
Honey.
It hits you really quick and then dissipates. So similar to the Kikori. It really has a good taste up front. And then as it goes down, it's just oil.
It's fruity too, and yeah, the honey note is basically just oil, but it's fruity up front, like the tardiness of a fruit. Mm-hmm. But it's not.
If you had to pick maybe I'm just thinking grapes because of last week, because that's what Kikori tastes. But I can kind of taste a little green grape in here.
There is baking spice too, but it's not oak, wood sugar. It's nothing like that. I'm gonna go
B.
Yeah, just B.
Yeah. There's like an underlying peat note. I don't really know what they don't really tell you mash bills on this, but I can tell you it's probably primarily corn and then high in the barley. There's not a lot of rye. There's not a lot of wheat. It's corn and barley, I'm assuming, which gives you that sweet characteristic. and I guess kind of that fruitier floral note.
When you consistently sip it like this and you get to the ending note, all I'm getting is oil and pepper.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I'm also getting a little vanilla on the end of it. But I think that is the oils going down.
That's where I'm at.
The flavors hit you real quick up front in the initial taste, and then all the residue is just going back.
Yeah. Again, I'm just gonna go like a C plus or a B minus. Like it's
Let's
in
go
that
B
range.
minus. I like it.
All right, final rating. Give me that countdown.
3, 2, 1. 84.
83.
Nice. Which actually, that's a pretty good rating. I mean, that's a solid B minus.
Yeah, math.
It's interesting. This is completely different from Kikori. 100%
Yeah, it is.
different.
It's for me. I like it more than that. It's just, and the rating doesn't necessarily reflect that. I understand mega fans, but my point is, this is easier to drink on a more regular basis, opposed to the other two that we've done.
Yeah.
What's the price range on this?
45.
45.
40.
40?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
So between 40 and 45 bucks.
Jesus, Derek, what are you doing? So we've had 3 very different Japanese whiskeys.
No doubt.
We had Hatazaki,
Yep.
which, don't mind me, I'm just fixing the boom arm. But we had Hatazaki, which is
Super peaty.
super peaty,
Yep.
more heavily Scottish influence.
Yeah.
Then we've had Kikori, which is true Japanese rice whiskey all the way. There was no peat, there was nothing. It was just straight rice whiskey.
Yeah.
And then we had this, which is kind of like a middle ground, I guess, in between the two. And that's why you like this one better, because you don't prefer the peat note. I like the Hatazaki a little bit better. I think that one was very delicious. This is a very close second, though. For a budget Japanese whiskey of $40, this is something that you should go get if you're looking to get into the Japanese whiskey market, because this is a perfect blend of what Japanese culture and what the Japanese distillation process is into one product.
Yeah, this is like a good neutral intro
Yeah.
into the realm.
Don't go straight into Yamazaki. Just don't do it. I mean, Yamazaki is very peat forward. And this is a product of that, with incorporating the what was it? The Chinu? I can't remember all this stuff. The Cheetah distillery, which is highly grain focused. So it's like a dialed down Yamazaki.
Yeah.
And if you're just getting into whiskey and you want to try something, do not go Yamazaki. First of all, it's extremely expensive because that's one of the higher end Japanese whiskeys. But this is a good blend between just getting started.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But I'm happy you like it. Can you actually pass me that? I do want a little bit more. 83 is a good rating for this. I think that is very, very reflective of this whiskey.
That was super quiet.
Yeah,
By the way,
that's fine.
if anybody heard that, good for you. If you didn't, you should probably go get your ears checked.
Yeah. And if you're not watching on YouTube, what are you doing?
Slide it.
Nailed it. Perfect. We're athletes. All right, so you had a lot in there. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Well, your overall thoughts is you like this one the most?
Correct. Yeah, and that's. But again, I'm very partial to American bourbon, so this isn't necessarily my immediate go-to, but I don't mind it if it was. It's a delicacy. It's a treat.
Yeah.
You know.
Next week we're going huge American. Cannot wait.
Let's go.
All right. So now into the prominent people of Buffalo. All right, so everybody, thank you for following us this far in our 5 episodes of the Prominent People of Buffalo section. we are now on episode 6, where Mike is going to talk quite a bit about John R. OISHEI, which came to fame quite recently.
Well,
JK.
yeah, people hear about his hospital, or I'm sorry, a hospital in Buffalo named after him, but John R. OISHEI is actually a native, and his story has nothing to do with healthcare, which is
Perfect.
pretty interesting.
So let's just name a hospital after him.
Well, you'll see why.
All right, I see Giuseppe in there, so I'm super excited. Let's go.
Yeah, so John R. OISHEI was born in Buffalo in 1886 to Charles Hubert OISHEI and Julia Orofo OISHEI. OISHEI's grandfather, whatever the hell you said,
Giuseppe.
Joseph OISHEI, immigrated to the United States from Lombardy, Italy in 1859.
All right, that's a really weird name. Giuseppe is heavily Italian, and OISHEI sounds Scottish or Irish. Do you know where they're from?
This is all I got. I'm reading what I got. What?
I'm just saying, like, you would expect Giuseppe to come before, like, a more Italian name.
Yeah,
And it's OISHEI. I'm just
Right.
saying that that's an interesting combination. That's all.
I agree.
Continue.
I agree with you. I just don't have the answer to your question because, once again, you're putting me on the spot and interrogating me under the lights. But anyways, by 1868, Joseph owned a saloon on Buffalo's Prime Street. And by 1861, he owned another saloon and a restaurant on Ohio Street in Buffalo. Fun fact about Ohio Street, it was the drag race capital of the city of Buffalo back in the day.
Was it really?
Yeah. So Joseph married Adelaide von Wilt, and they had 3 kids.
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
I don't know. I'm just messing.
Something. So either way, they had 3 kids. Charles, who's John's father,
Orila.
Orila, and Amelia. At the time of Joseph's death in 1878, he owned the Golden Gate Hotel on 160 Exchange Street in Buffalo. So Exchange Street, Buffalo General, I believe, is also on Exchange Street. Charles, age 19, took over responsibility for the family for his deceased father, and by 1890, he graduated from Buffalo Law, and then he set up his own practice. So, just so I don't crush myself later when I listen to this, I have to confirm that Buffalo General is on Exchange Street. No, it's not. It's on High Street. Nailed it. So, let's see. Okay, so in 1916, OISHEI was driving down Delaware Ave near Virginia Street in downtown Buffalo during a rainstorm. This is basically what he's known for. He hit a dude on a bike.
Nice.
He felt horrible about it because the bicyclist, yeah, he ran into the National Roadster that OISHEI was driving at the time.
Nice.
OISHEI never saw him coming, and even though the cyclist was not seriously injured, OISHEI vowed to never let that happen again. So he sought out the best technology available at the time and created the first automobile wiper blades and grew the idea from a simple fix to a worldwide use. In
Really?
1917, John R. OISHEI founded Trico Products Corporation. He looked around for a way to clear moisture from a driver's line of vision and decided to invest in the national marketing of an edged, hand-pulled rubber squeegee that was produced in Buffalo by an engineer named John Jespin. Within 3 years, OISHEI's sales team had successfully sold the accessory to Packard, Lincoln, Cadillac, and Buffalo's own Pierce Arrow. They were all car manufacturers at the time.
That is super interesting.
Yep. So through those sales, OISHEI raised enough capital to buy out Jepson in 1919, and then when World War I ended, he expanded availability of the product to Europe and beyond. So he literally went global. Although maintaining cash flow to service early loans made Trico's initial survival a dicey proposition, its success was assured following the immediate post-World War I automotive boom. So Trico sales were easily refitted. Here's what happened. Let me just break this down and not look at a TV. So after the war, Trico basically came together and then formulated a product that fit the new windshields, because before it was hand powered and it was a squeegee that the driver operated by themselves. What they did was they fit 2 of those squeegees onto one windshield for a one piece of glass. They then offered that spring-loaded arcing wiper that was operated by hand and pivoted across the field of vision. Although Trico did not invent the wiper motor, it did come up with a reliable unit run by engines manifold vacuum that quickly became the industry standard, especially in the aftermarket. So Cadillac was the first car manufacturer to make these powered wipers standard. In 1934, that reliable wiper was redesigned to fit the new curved windshields that also included a internal spring to ensure constant pressure across the glass. 2 years later, Trico introduced a powered windshield washer. In 1937, its wipers were standard across the entire U.S. auto industry. Trico eventually became one of the world's leading manufacturers of automotive windshield wiping equipment, which is fascinating because you automatically assume if you know nothing about Buffalo, when you see John R. OISHEI, you think healthcare because he's the name of a hospital.
Even if you know a lot about Buffalo, that's not common knowledge.
Not at all. So
It's wild, man.
especially because it all started when he hit a dude on a bike.
Right?
Well,
What was the dude on the bike doing?
the guy on the bike hit him, but
Yeah,
whatever.
It's raining out. What are you
Icto
doing on the
facto.
bike?
I,
Jeez, get a car, be an athlete.
Listen, that was pre-World War I. Things were different. So in 1940, OISHEI established the foundation, formerly known as the Julia R. and Estelle L. Foundation. He funded it with annual contributions and with charitable remainder trust. OISHEI served as president of the foundation from its founding until his death in 1968, which is really not that long ago at all. The foundation concentrated its support to hospitals and schools in the Buffalo area, with the balance being directed to cultural and social services needs. Until 1997, all foundation contributions were made on an anonymous basis.
Anonymous.
Nailed it. This was consistent with the procedures OISHEI followed with regard to the substantial charitable gifts he personally made during his lifetime. His penchant for total anonymity...
Anonymity.
Sweet. Was driven by his strong sense of modesty and of equally strong belief that anonymity allowed him to make his philanthropic decisions with
Philanthropic. This whole podcast is just me correcting you.
So as of December 2015, the foundation has $300 million in assets and gives away nearly $20 million annually. It is among the region's most well-known grant makers, providing resources for programs, capital projects, and nonprofit executive development, and in the last few years alone, provided multi-million-dollar gifts to the largest health and education projects in Western New York, which includes a $10 million donation to develop the now renamed John R. OISHEI's Children's Hospital, which is the newest one downtown in the medical campus. So, John R. OISHEI was also a member of the Country Club of Buffalo, the Saturn Club. He was the president of the Buffalo Club and was elected in 1948, where he participated in an elite group within the club designated the Society of the Buffalo. At his death in Buffalo in 1968, OISHEI had $44 million, equivalent to $323,495,000 in 2019, in stocks and bonds, and approximately $1 million in insurance policies, which in money in 2019 was equivalent to 7.3 mil. So he was doing good things. So it's just fascinating to me that it's basically about windshield wipers and his donations and not healthcare.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And also, I have no clue why I can't read today.
We just, when was the last time you replaced your windshield wipers? I feel like that is such an underrated part of your car. People don't think about them until they're broken.
I replaced mine 6 months ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you're part of the problem, you're telling me?
I'm super anal about my windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Because I need them to work. Because I've had vehicles where they don't work well, and I get super mad.
Yeah.
So I'm meticulous about many things about my truck.
We
But
just replaced Gina's because the flap on it finally broke off. But that is crazy. I had no idea that he was part of the development of windshield wipers.
yeah, all because of an accident, and he felt bad. That's it.
I mean,
What a great idea.
that's how you do things too, right? You encounter a problem in day-to-day life, and you're like, how can I invent something that'll help this? Have you ever thought about inventing something and the process behind actually inventing something?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with this podcast. It's basically the same thing.
Well, yeah, but we didn't invent podcasts.
Well,
But like, can you imagine inventing something? There's a lot like in the entrepreneurial world. Try to say that one. The entrepreneurial world that say it's easy to be the first at something, but it's very difficult to be the best at something.
yeah.
So creating windshield wipers, being the first person to think, you know what? I almost killed this dude because of rain. I'm going to invent something that is going to stop me from ever doing this again. Crazy.
And it happened in Buffalo.
Yeah, because our weather is atrocious. It's snowing right now.
Yeah, I know.
Who created the snow blades
I can feel it.
in my knees?
It's just going to be another great evening of you and I texting each other. Are you thawed out yet?
Dude, I don't thaw out. Honestly, like, I'll go up and edit a little bit, and I won't thaw out until, like, 8 o'clock. And we talked about this before. When we used to ride motorcycles all the time, we were freezing that one day, and the top of our legs
Yeah, our
weren't
thighs.
thawed until, like, the next day.
Yeah, my thighs are cold. It's bad. We got to wrap this thing up.
How are your feet right now?
Not too bad, but
I got to invest into some good pair of, like, warm boots. Like, boots that I won't feel like a nerd in. I don't want that stuff where it comes with, like, a insert. That's for virgins. I don't need that.
I mean, Sorel insert boots have been generationally used by every alpha male in the Northeast.
Virgins. I went to today, so, like, I was talking about how I had to do the Ethernet cable. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to everybody and say that I'm the biggest alpha male in the world. I drive an Infinity. I'm not an alpha male. Like, I am in some aspects, but in others, I'm not going to lie and say I am. I go into the hardware store and I'm like, oh, I could probably use that too. Like, I go in there and I'm like, what have I been doing? What have I been collecting that I don't have any of this stuff that I actually need?
Right.
I am like, if there is a scale from like beta and like even, are there such thing as a Charlie male where you just walk around bird cage chested and stuff like that? Is there just like, is there a Charlie male out there?
Yeah, those exist.
Is that like a real thing, or are we creating that? You have to be the first. That's what I'm saying. Let's patent that.
I'm sure somebody's came up with it, or they probably skip Charlie and go right to like,
Echo male.
no, like a golf.
Golf
Like
hotel,
this dude is
India.
just so pathetic. Yeah. You know, like non-athletic, bird-chested, eats tofu,
Bird chest.
you know. Like willingly eats tofu.
Have you just found out about Damazetti during that video search?
No.
Oh, okay. Dude, bro science is so funny. When you send me that,
Yeah.
I was dying. Because I
it's
used
accurate.
to watch him religiously.
Yeah.
Back when he had just the Dom Mazzetti channel. He was
Right.
talking about Memorial Day weekend, MDW. It was my favorite YouTuber at the time.
Yeah, he was a disaster. I mean, he still is a
still
disaster because he still makes fun of himself.
But he's such a cool dude. Like, he had that channel for a while, NAR RPM or whatever. That was a sick channel.
It's coming back, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah. I guess he came out recently and talked about how he's going to have content. And he said, until then, just watch the same video that I uploaded 15 weeks ago. It's like, because he never uploads content. But yeah, it's...
Well, his are multimedia, like, $1 million productions. Like, he buys a McLaren for a video. It's
Well,
like,
yeah.
Chill out.
Well, right.
You're fine.
He's flexing.
Yeah.
But it's all based off his apparel. I mean, his apparel brand is literally what allows him to do NAR PM. But yeah, I just wanted to send you that because it's a good throwback.
Yeah. The bird chested.
And it's accurate. I mean, that's real life. And I see those people walking
So you're
around.
saying bird chested is like in?
No, so they're
Describe a bird chest, Mike. Take your jacket off.
their shoulders. Listen, I can't. I'm not built like that. They just got a narrow frame. Their shoulders are kind of like tucked back, and then their chest sticks out like a cage.
Yeah.
And they're just like, and they have like they have no development in their traps, nothing in their delts, and noodle arms, and they're just like walking around. And they're like a 30 waist naturally. Like there's nothing to them. A stiff breeze could flip them off the street. Like get out of the way. Like you're a waste of resources.
All right, so on a scale, this should have been in the weekly recap. Jesus, this is the hook that brings people in. But on a scale of 0 to 10, what would you consider yourself an alpha? Like 0 being beta and 10 being alpha.
Dude, I'm extremely hard on myself. So
Like were in the Army, but you also watch Gilmore Girls. So you're like a solid 5.
I would go higher than 5 though, because I can do do some stuff.
Yeah.
But I would keep it around like a 6. I wouldn't go higher than a 7. But, I mean, I'm still like, I was in the Army, but I was still an infantryman. Like, I wasn't a pogue.
Right.
I played sports.
Yeah.
Like I grabbed the bull by the horns. I lift. I don't, like, I understand the importance of leg day.
Right.
And I'm not a vegan. So. And I don't have like gluten intolerances or anything. Yeah, I'm going to go 6.5.
Yeah. I'm going to go like 5.2, 5.5 because like I know how to do things. I'm very resourceful, but I also cried at Toy Story 3. So I'm kind of like right in the middle there. And I feel like I'm definitely nowhere near a beta, but I'm not close to an alpha. I try and I'm good at faking it till I make it. That's literally been my life. Throughout all schooling, throughout my entire career, is just pretend like you know what you're doing. I have a job in cybersecurity. I don't know anything about technology. I'm asking my friend about what Ethernet cable to get because I don't know anything about it. I just fake it till I make it. That's all we're doing.
What you have to do is, if you want to gain points on the alpha scale...
We're playing for points.
We're playing for points, and there isn't such thing as a stupid question. But if you want to gain points on the alpha scale, you got to take initiative when it isn't there. Mm-hmm. Like when we went to Home Depot and the employee was mopping water outside and doing nothing, and we had things to do and there's a line of people behind us, someone has to approach the employee and state for him to do his job because mentally, clearly, he isn't there. So someone's got to do that.
Yeah,
and if you're not willing to do that, beta move.
But I'm also sitting in the passenger seat like, oh my God, my husband is wild. While you're over berating a Home Depot employee that gets paid minimum wage.
I was screaming at him. Go in the back, grab the thing. If you're not forklift operator certified, figure it out and do it yourself. Like, you can do that. Like, get certified. Or find the dude that is if you're not in the meantime. Like, do your job. There's a line of people waiting for curbside pickup because of world events. We're not allowed to go in the store and grab it ourselves.
Correct.
Like, that sounds like a you problem, pal. Like, I'm here on time. I had the appointment. I'm ready to go. I have a vehicle that can maintain and handle the load that I'm about to endure. Like, let's go.
And we got double our shipment anyway.
Well, yeah, you did. I just sat there and laughed. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you got to be that person. You got to direct the sheep.
Yeah.
Because they exist. They're there.
I'm right, like AB positive. Like if we're going blood type and like alpha beta stuff, I'm AB positive right now. I'm a little bit trending towards alpha and I'm getting there. But I can't lie that I have some beta tendencies in me sometimes.
I'm O-pos. So.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Good for you. That means like you can do whatever you want, right? Like you can amputate your arm and someone will have blood for you. Isn't that what that means?
Yeah. I'm universal donor. And then O-neg, you can take any blood, I believe, or vice.
AB positive. AB positive you can take. No, AB negative you can take any blood.
I literally just had this conversation. I already forgot it.
AB negative you can take any blood. And O positive you can give any blood. So if I ever die or lose a limb because we've been in this garage for too long, I know that you can save me.
O-pos is given to patients more than any other blood type, which is why it's considered the most needed blood type. 38% of the population has O-pos, making it the most common blood type.
Oh, you're common? Look at you.
In regards to blood,
you regular.
O-negative is the universal blood type. It is the most common blood type used for transfusions when the blood type is unknown.
Correct.
So O-neg is the universal donor.
And then who's the universal receiver? It's AB neg, right?
I believe it's it's some variation of something like that. So universal.
I think it's AB positive.
Recipient.
Yeah.
AB pos.
Yeah. We come at you hard with the facts.
That's right. But yeah. So listen, if you want to fix your issues or deficiencies or whatever primary malfunctions you have as a human being, as a male, keep your shoulders back. Do 50 push-ups a night. Do planks and body squats and pull-ups, and then work on knot tying and the fundamentals of marksmanship, and you'll be far above the rest.
Speaking of keeping your shoulders back, that is the biggest sign of a beta male. It's like if you have hunched shoulders, your palms face out when you walk. Just because that's human anatomy. Your palms face out when you walk. It's not good. You got to have, like...
there's a such thing as a military posture. Like it's scientifically taught in college.
What is it?
It's just like you're a statue. Like you have like this. Like most people chill.
Yeah.
Like military posture is up. Like your chest is up and out. Your shoulders are back, and you're basically sitting at the position of attention at all times.
Sometimes
Same with you when you walk.
sometimes my sternum hurts, and it's either a heart attack or I have poor posture. So whenever it starts hurting, I just do like reset my posture, and I'm golden.
Well, yeah,
Doesn't hurt anymore.
posture's the key to life.
It's crazy.
All these people are weak.
Well, I don't really know where this episode went. I mean, we were talking hard about everything else, and then it just kind of went downhill into a spiral about alpha, beta, and Charlie males. But that's really it. That's the episode. We are on episode 70. So everybody, thank you so much for chilling with us. Hit that subscribe button, like, and a comment. We really appreciate it. We upload all the time. So follow us on Instagram and our Facebook at the Buffalo Happy Hour 12. And just remember, be a good person and drink responsibly. And Mike?
And do not litter.
Yes. So thank you, everybody, and we are out.